All right, welcome to part 6 of technical debt and approach for the new year. We've covered definitions and sources. We've covered inventory, and remember, keep that private. We've covered strategies for when to work on technical debt on your scale and on the timetable that your internal customers need. We've talked about how leveraging regularly reports, flow, and dashboards can help you go faster, more reliably and repeatably, and keep up with how you're doing on retiring debt. We've talked about governance, and now we're ready to talk about a topic that comes up during governance all the time, which is scale. How big are you? How often does something happen? How fast is something occurring? Governance involves a lot of subjective decisions and opinions, politics, trade-offs, but how big something is and how fast it has been happening should not be a subjective piece of data. It should be objective. And so I want to show you how to find that data out for sure and present it in a way that is very credible and will bring stability into that discussion. Can't help with all the politics and the prioritizations, but I can help with this one. First, you can go to settings and search for the word storage, and you'll find it there, storage usage under data. And you'll find a column that's the record count. Now I cut off the column that's storage because it's literally just 2K times the record count. And you will, if you look down here, you'll begin eventually to notice some objects that are common and standard. In accounts, I have 14,000. In contacts, I have 13,000. But you had to wade through a bunch of stuff that maybe nobody needs, and this isn't the most friendly format. So let's look at how to build it in a better way. Let me switch to my org and show you. All righty. So here we are on a dashboard that I call my Salesforce adoption dashboard, and everyone should have one of these. It really should be standard with Salesforce. If you haven't built one, I would encourage you to build it, and let me show you how to build it. But you can see that it highlights the very same numbers, 14,000 accounts, 13,000 contacts, but it goes on to show other things that were much lower in that list, as well as and it has light theme and dark theme to distinguish between standard or managed objects and our custom objects. But there's a couple things that aren't on this that could be. So let's add one. And if you haven't used the latest features of reporting lately, this also gives you a chance to brush up on those. Let me find my reports page. And what I want, we adopted engagement plan a couple of years ago, and I want to see how we're doing on that and how fast we've been doing that. So I want to make a new report based on engagement plan. So I go to new report, and up eventually pops a dialog that asks me, what report type do I want to use? Hello, it's being very slow because I'm recording, I guess. And so I'm going to type in engagement plan. And something happens here that is very common. You get lots of choices, and notice they all involve accounts and engagement plans, or contacts, or activities and engagement plans. There's none here that's just engagement plan by itself. And I like to use the simplest report possible, because when you use compound report types, Salesforce is doing a junction or a join operation. And there are some hidden things about that join that can make your report complicated and confusing. So I went and defined my own report type that just is the object A equals report engagement plan. And nothing else is going to happen, and there's really nothing bad about that now, because Salesforce will add any standard object any standard fields to this automatically from now on. I don't have to go back and manually add fields anymore. So that's going to be the report type that I choose, and I start all of my custom report plans, custom report types that I make with the letters SYM so that I can tell the difference between them and everyone else's. So up it comes up with just the ID report, which is pretty good. I want all engagement plans. I want to open up this created date filter to all time, because I want to see what happens all the time. And so there's my engagement plan ID, all time. I want to group by create date so that I can see how fast we're doing these. So I'm going to do by group. I'm going to add a group, create date. I do want to change that to group not by the specific date, but to group by the calendar year. I'll turn off the detail roles because that has I have no interest in them, and I will run this report. I already created this because sadly I had to record this twice. So let me switch now just to the finished report rather than create a duplicate in my org. So I'm switching to that saved report, and there they are. We created 200 in the first year, but we created 800 last year, and we've already created 40. So engagement plan is being used, and that's really nice. So now I want to add it to that dashboard. And if you haven't used Salesforce in a while, you no longer have to do all this other stuff. You can just say, hey, I want to add that to the dashboard right from the report. And it pops up a dialog. It's going to say, well, what dashboard do you want to do? Or I can create a brand new one. The one I've been using is right on top as recent. So I say add. It's going to pop up my dashboard in edit mode with my nice lightning grid. And it's going to say, how do you want to do that? And I want to make a chart, line chart. I want a line chart of created date versus record count, just to keep things simple. I want it to be cumulative so that it's in line increasing and upwards. And I think that's all I want. I will change the title to be just engagement plans so that my dashboard lettering is a little simpler, and I think that's what I want. By default, it puts it in at the bottom of the chart. Oh, I don't know why I did that. I want to edit that and make it a metric. My apologies. And if a metric, I don't want the shortened number, I want thousands, which doesn't look any different right now, but it will eventually. All right, so there is my metric. And now I'm going to drag it over and put it where I want and make it the same size as the others, a 2 by 2. And there you go. So now I have that. I'll say save and done. I have another dashboard that helps me know a little bit more about it. And it is the adoption dashboard, but not just metrics. It shows the whole graph of time versus object creation. So, and I already added the engagement plan to this, but since we edited the report, since I have to refresh. So it goes through and figures out all these graphs all over again from scratch. But there's my engagement plan graph. So this is a really nice way to show what's going on. Let me go back to my presentation now. Sorry, it takes a second. A nice feature, but it does take a second to put me in the foreground of my presentation background. All right, there we are. And it has another not nice feature that it always opens up on slide 1, and I can't jump immediately to the slide I want. So there you go. So we've looked at how we can get it from settings page if we need something that isn't on our dashboard. We've looked at how we can use the metrics dashboard to really show it. And this is a really nice resume for you. This isn't really terribly proprietary information. I think you could take a snapshot of this and use it in a job interview, for example, to show what you have managed in the past. And these graphs really show the story of adoption. You can see on this dark theme graph, can't read the numbers, I know, but you can tell that it's been going up on a pretty, we've been using that object more and more, clearly, but last year was a big jump. We used that object a lot last year. So So we've talked about how you can answer this one thing objectively called size or scale or frequency. In the next section, we're going to look at some tools that help analyze your system for technical debt. We're not going to go into huge detail, but there are quite a few tools out there. And I look forward to that last part with you. Bye.